My interest in the story is, I was just looking at it as a tragic love story and murder. So when Mary March, or Shaq'asthut, was captured, her husband was murdered. So that intrigued me. And all I wanted to do was to make a work that addressed or investigated, maybe, the emotion or the trauma of that moment where they're running for their lives. She's captured, he's killed. And we know now that they had a newborn child and the baby dies. So I thought, wow, that's a very, very tragic story. And so what I thought I would do is, instead of dressing them in period costume, I dressed them in contemporary clothes. And my reason for doing that was to try to take a story, like a Newfoundland story, what has become a Newfoundland story, take that story and give it back, or bring it back to a story about real people, human beings.
Often describes itself as a kind of post-colonial museum. And I kind of wonder whether, in fact, it is really post-colonial, whether anything is post-colonial in British Columbia or anywhere else in the world for that matter. It might have the aspiration to be post-colonial, but I think that throughout the globe we're really looking at the relationship between different societies is one of the kind of neo-colonialism relationship. And that kind of neo-colonial relationship, I think, makes museums, whether museums want to acknowledge it or not, into something like a colloquium, into these balls of twisted fibers, in which different histories, different views of the world, different concepts of morality, different interpretations, different political strategies, are all kind of mixed together. I think museums are trying to spend a lot of their time to try to sort that out, and often kind of go for a majority kind of discourse. The strength of museums is probably the fact that they do have all these contradictions.
After Bill's death in 1998, 10 years ago, the Reid Foundation was created with a mandate to preserve his art and to perpetuate his legacies. The Reid Foundation became the vehicle through which I could give my collection of over 100 artworks by Bill Reid, his ancestors and followers. The vision was to establish a permanent home for the collection in downtown Vancouver. Such a facility, dedicated exclusively to the contemporary practice of Northwest Coast art, displayed in proper context as art, and without the qualitative terms Indian ethnographical, anthropological, etc., did not yet exist in Canada, much less in downtown Vancouver.
And I think that just working with the youth community, and I work with Red Worm Magazine, it's a lot of those people. It's like a lot of young people who are really proud of who they are and know their responsibilities, but don't know how to face what's happening in the world with the planet, and also, like, you know, the not just the alcoholism, but like meth addiction, all these really scary other things that are coming into our communities. And what we're really fighting is apathy, right? And a feeling of like knowing that this is what's going on and this is like the challenging situations we're facing, but we can't just give in and give up. We have to find a way through it somehow. So the project kind of works like a talking circle. So you pose a question to the community, and let's say like the magazine we're doing next is on food sovereignty. So we're discussing the issue of food. How does food and medicine and all those things connect us to the earth? Issues like diabetes, issues like you know, what's happening with controlling of seeds, you know, all this genetically modified stuff. And we'll pose a discussion to the community and say, what does everyone think about what's happening with food? And we'll get a whole bunch of different responses back from a whole bunch of different people. And the reason that we run the magazine as like an uncensored space is because in a talking circle, every single person around that table is just as important as somebody else. They have just as much right to speak about an issue as the next person. So it's not an academic discussion between journalists about what they think is going on with food.
It's exciting for me. So I will go over and give you a very big preview of what we do at Bannock, just in the sense of Aboriginal participation, and that there is quite a... Okay, we'll figure this out. Technology, love it, but we need patience. One of the mandates of Bannock was unprecedented Aboriginal participation. And I started a year ago, and when I heard that, I was like, because that's what we all do. And when I got into it, I realized that they actually have set it up, so it's outreaching and not singular, and not just a token. And there are Aboriginal people working towards this goal, which is huge. I won't always read what's on the slide, it's more for your information as we're going along. There are 5 major areas that we're targeting within Bannock, which includes partnerships and collaboration. Our biggest partner and the biggest reason why we got the Olympics here was that the 4 host First Nations came into collaboration with Bannock, and they really do have a great presence. Sport and youth, of course, economic development, and there's been amazing stories around that, cultural involvement, awareness, and education.